Hi there, and welcome to this Max Moment. So let's talk about the power of a cup of coffee. Okay, now I don't drink coffee personally, but I know a lot of people who do. And in order for them to have a great day, there's only one way it can start, and that's with a cup of coffee, right? And if they don't get that cup of coffee in the morning, then there's only one way that the rest of the day is heading, and that is downhill and fast, right? Now, you one of those people, okay? So, in all honesty, although that may be true, that is not why I am sharing this Max Moment. Okay? The reason I want to talk about a cup of coffee today is because of a study that was done and the amazing results that it showed. So there was a study that was done in a park, and there were a group of actors, okay, and they went up to 100 strangers and they rehearsed a very specific action that they would act out every time they went up to one of these strangers and these subjects, okay? And what they would do each time is they walked up to the stranger while holding a cup of coffee in their hands. Okay, and what they did is this: they pretended that they needed to use their phone that was in their pocket. So they asked the stranger to hold their cup of coffee while they reached into their pocket, they pulled out their phone, and then they fiddled with it a little bit, and then when they were done, they took that cup of coffee back and then they just said, "Thank you very much for your help," and then they just went on their way. Now the big thing to remember is this: the only difference was that half of those strangers were handed a cup of iced coffee and the other half were handed a cup of hot coffee. Now 30 minutes later, another person who was also part of the study walked up to that same stranger with a clipboard and then asked them if for $20 they would mind taking a quick minute of their time and then reading a 3-paragraph story and then answering a couple of questions about the main character in the story that they just read, and then if they did, they would get that $20. Okay? So it was the same story for everyone. Let me say this again. It was the same story for everyone. Everyone read the exact same story. The only difference was the cup of coffee that they received, whether it was hot or cold. Now, when asked how they would describe the character qualities of the main character in the story that they just read, 81% of the people that received the iced coffee said the main character was cold and uncaring. And are you ready for this? 80% of the people that received the hot coffee said that the main character was warm and genuine. Crazy, right? And the only difference was the temperature of the coffee. So that is the power of a cup of coffee, right? And that is also the power of the environment around us and how much it primes the thoughts that we have. So much so that really our thoughts often are not our own, but they're the result of the people and the environment around us. So if you are truly honest with yourself, like many of the thoughts that you have, they aren't really yours, but a response to being primed by the environment around you, right? It's how advertising works and why companies spend so much money on it, right? Amazon is one of the biggest companies in the world with a revenue in 2022 of $514 billion, but is also one of the other companies that spends the most amount on advertising, to the tune of $20.6 billion that same year in 2022. And why? Because they understand the power of a cup of coffee. So what am I saying? I am saying that to lead the life that you want to live, you must be very conscious of the environment that you put yourself in, the people that you surround yourself with, the things that you choose to listen to, and what you allow into your mind and into your heart. Because ultimately, all these things prime you in the same way that the temperature of a cup of coffee does. Because it affects how you see the world. So choose to make today a great day. And as always, choose to live life to the max. I'll see you next time.